The trap of self in relation to the 16 insight knowledges. When people talk about anatta, not self, we often hear a very standard answer. There's no self, there's no me. Suffering arises because we cling to a self, and once we let go of that, we're free. But in truth, understanding anatta is much deeper and subtler than simply memorizing the phrase, there's no self. In real life, our minds cling to the idea of me in very subtle and tenacious ways. One trap in understanding anatta superficially is that we might use it as an excuse to avoid responsibility. For example, someone might say, there's no self, so I don't have to do anything or be responsible for anything. But that's not truly seeing anatta, it's distorting the teaching. Another misuse is to suppress emotions with the idea of anatta. For instance, telling yourself, I shouldn't be angry because there's no me to be angry. That just becomes repression, instead of genuinely seeing that anger simply arises and passes away on its own, not belonging to anyone. True understanding of anatta doesn't mean denying experience, but seeing it as it really is. Another trap is a nihilistic extreme. If there's no self, life has no meaning. The Buddha did not teach that. Seeing anatta doesn't mean rejecting all meaning or value. It's about recognizing that everything arises due to causes and conditions, with nothing entirely under anyone's control or truly belonging to us in a fixed way. This opens us to taking responsibility for causes and effects, without clinging or identification. Even subtler is the ego trap of pride in understanding anatta. I understand anatta, I'm better than others. That's just another form of self sneaking back in, creating a new, subtler identity. This is why anatta is such a difficult truth to realize, not because it's conceptually complicated, but because our minds have been trained all our lives to grasp at I so reflexively it feels natural. Anatta is not something you can fully grasp just by thinking about it or repeating, there's no self. The Buddha taught cultivating insight meditation, vipassana, so that anatta can be seen directly as lived experience, not just as an idea or words. Truly seeing anatta means seeing the three marks of existence in all phenomena: impermanence, unsatisfactory, and not being subject to anyone's control. The mind doesn't give up clinging to self all at once. It takes a gradual process of practice that progressively reveals truth, which is described in the 16 stages of Vipassana Gnana as explained in the commentaries. It begins with differentiating mind and body, nama rupa, seeing that they are separate processes, not a single unified self. Then one sees the causal conditions that give rise to mind and body, recognizing their interdependence without any permanent owner. As contemplation deepens, one sees the three characteristics in all of mind and body, realizing that everything constantly arises and passes away. As this insight grows clearer, the mind sees the arising and passing of formations in detail, giving rise to profound understanding that nothing can be held onto. There may arise fear of disillusion, realizing that there's nothing stable to rely on. One sees the danger in clinging to anything, even the most refined fabrications. This leads to disillusionment, fading of desire, and a wish for liberation. But even then, the mind does not release its clinging immediately. It must further contemplate causes and conditions until equanimity develops, a state of balance that neither grasps nor rejects anything. Only then is the mind ready to cross from the mundane to the supramundane. The path, Magga arises, cutting through defilements in stages, followed by fruition, Palachita, a mind established in freedom from defilements, and finally knowledge that reviews and confirms that defilements have been ended. This map of the 16 stages of Vipassana Gnana shows how the mind gradually untangles its clinging to self. All of this reveals that seeing anatta is not merely accepting it as a logical conclusion. It is cultivating wisdom in the mind that exposes the truth of the three characteristics again and again until ignorance is truly overcome. Anatta is both the goal and the path. It is an understanding that must be realized in direct experience, not just spoken about. This is the depth of the Buddha's teaching on anatta, and it explains why he laid out a step-by-step path of practice that leads the mind to let go of self-clinging completely in the end.